I should probably hit the record button so everybody can see this. So I'll repeat that last part. The comic strip can either be episodic, every little thing is its own. So they don't necessarily relate other than the characters happen to be the same. But every day is a different little story or different event. A lot of popular comics go that way. So if you look at we looked at Schultz's Peanuts. We looked at Opus, which is in Bloom County. You look at Calvin and Hobbes, and they tend to be episodic. Now, your second choice is that you're telling a big story, and that may take place over several. So Spider-Man used to be in the comics, Prince of Valiant used to be in comics, and they told a long-term story. So every day was part of a bigger story. The Prince of Valiant, to tell one story arc, one plot, one overall story, took them 3 years of daily prints in the newspaper because they would do it 4 panels at a time. So Monday through Friday was one part of this, was one continuing story, and then Sunday was kind of like the big build up to the next part of the story or the conclusion to the previous story. So if you are doing a daily strip, you have to decide, first, do I want to do little individual days that don't correspond, just characters, or do I want to do one continuous story over the entire thing? 2, where are you going to place your Sunday comic? Because you're doing 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, of strips. So you can either put your Sunday at the beginning to start off, you can put your Sunday in the middle to tie the 2 weeks together, or you can put it at the very end to make a bigger conclusion. It doesn't matter. If it's me and I'm telling one continuous story, I would probably start with Monday, go through Friday, have my Sunday, and then start again Monday through Friday and try to end it on the second Friday. That way you've got a good flow of continuity happening through. You're not skipping any parts. If I'm doing episodic adventures, my Sunday can fall anywhere inside of it. So make sure you know what you're doing there. If you've already got your sketch work done, you've done your front, sides, and backs for your characters, then you've got what I would do on a daily strip is I would decide each day's plot, and I would probably have 1 or 2 sentences that describe what's going to happen that day. So, for example, if I were doing a comic strip about kids on a bus and them going to school, I would put down Monday, waiting for the bus, Tuesday, bus ride, Wednesday, get to school, Thursday, something happens in lunch, Friday, they are getting ready to leave school, and then Sunday is the bus ride home and part of the weekend. So that would be an idea of a continuous story. Now, just because I'm only telling parts of what happens every day doesn't mean that Monday through Friday was one day. It could be one day. It could also be a representation of what happens every day, and I'm just looking at their story at different parts in the day. If I'm doing just little one hits, then that idea of kids getting on the bus, maybe every day something goes on with them getting on the bus. And maybe I use something as simple as the weather. So we know that last Sunday was really hot, and my characters could be commenting, they could be running around in shorts and t-shirts, and they could be, oh my gosh, summer's almost here, and then supposedly Friday it's going to snow, and then my Friday comic could be them standing around with heavy coats and hoods up and hats and gloves, and I could show like the steam coming from their breath, and I might have a panel where they say, boy, I can't wait for summer, and they're thinking about what happened just a few days ago. So that could be an idea of just little hits. I'm dealing with weather, which is my big story overall, but every plot has a little bit different twist, and it just shows them at one point in time. Do not be afraid to look at some classic if you're doing strips, don't be afraid to look in newspapers or even Google search for comic strips. For example, if I type into Google Bloom County, I can go to Berkeley Breath's website, and I can find from the beginning to the end of the comic strip. You can find a lot of the Peanuts comics online. So there's a lot of you can use a digital resource, and you can kind of see how those stories go, and you can kind of preview through them. Don't forget, Mrs. Barnheiser can help you. So if you email Mrs. Barnheiser any questions about, hey, Mrs. Barnheiser, I'm looking for, because a lot of these classic cartoon strips have books that go with them. And what it is they just take all their daily strips and they just put them into a book form. So you can actually read through the story. And she may be able to help you find something like that where you could find a digital copy. And because we are a school, you might be able to get the digital copy for free for this lesson. So if you need some help looking for that, or you're kind of stuck on an idea, or you're stuck for characters and you want to see what some people have done, use your friend the internet, and don't forget Mrs. Barnheiser is here to help you. So since Alex is doing strips, that's what we're talking about today. And if anybody else has any questions, you can email me. If you're doing comic books, I think we've covered both pretty well. Alex, did you need help with your drawing of characters or your concept ideas, or anything? Really. Go ahead, say that again.
Not really.
Okay. So then, sorry about that. Looks like I'm getting a spam call. So if that is all, then that can be our lesson for today, is just kind of going through, you should be at the point now where you're starting to draw things down. And before I start to draw a comic strip, I want to have an idea of what's happening. So I might have my stuff written down in a notebook, and then maybe I take a sticky pad and I write down each plot and I put it on each piece of paper. If I'm using just a sketchbook to do my ideas, and then I draw my rectangles here, however you can fit it. So if you think you need more space because you want more space, draw your daily strips, try to get 1 or 2 per page. If you do it this way, you could probably get 3 per page. Your total for daily strips is going to be 10 dailies and 1 Sunday paper, which is a double daily. So if you're doing, and on a Sunday, you also have to include that title bar at the very beginning. So you're looking at total frames. You're looking at 40 frames, and then the Sunday adds about 8 to 10 more frames, depending on how you want to lay out your Sunday. So if that's all, if you don't need help, Alex, then you can bounce out of here. All right, have a good one. See you later.